In the not-so-distant future, where genetic scans govern every aspect of society, twins hold a unique advantage. But what happens when that advantage becomes a tool for deception? Enter the world of mirror image deception, where the line between identity and imposter blurs, and the consequences of mistaken identity could mean life or death. As the protagonist grapples with the theft of her identity by her own twin sister, she embarks on a perilous journey to reclaim her life and prove her innocence. With the authorities hot on her trail and time running out, she must navigate a treacherous landscape of deceit, betrayal, and hidden agendas. Will she succeed in exposing the truth before it's too late, or will she be forever lost in the shadow of her own mirror image? I never imagined that my life would become a twisted maze of deception, all because of a genetic fluke that bestowed upon me an identical twin sister. From the moment we were born, we were a spectacle, a marvel of genetics that fascinated and perplexed those around us. But beneath the surface of our seemingly identical appearances lay a world of difference, a chasm of disparity that would one day tear my life apart. It began innocently enough, or so I thought. My sister, Olivia, and I shared everything. Our hopes, our dreams, and even our DNA. But as we grew older, our paths diverged. While I pursued a career in bioengineering, driven by a desire to understand the very genetic code that defined us, Olivia took a different route, a darker path filled with deceit and manipulation. It wasn't until that fateful day, the day of the genetic scan, that I realized the extent of her deception. As the authorities combed through the data, searching for any discrepancies, I watched in horror as Olivia, using my own DNA, slipped through the cracks undetected. In an instant, she had stolen my identity, my life, leaving me stranded on the fringes of society, branded a fraud by those who once knew me. But I refused to let her get away with it. As I stand on the precipice of oblivion, I vow to reclaim what is rightfully mine, to expose the truth hidden behind the facade of my sister's deceit. For beneath the surface of her flawless exterior lies a darkness that threatens to consume us both if left unchecked. The discovery of Olivia's betrayal was like a punch to the gut, knocking the wind out of me and leaving me reeling in disbelief. How could she do this to me? How could she betray the very bond that held us together? As I sifted through the wreckage of my shattered life, I stumbled upon clues, breadcrumbs left behind by Olivia in her haste to erase any trace of her deception. It was as if she wanted me to find her, to confront her, to play her twisted game of cat and mouse. But I refused to be her pawn. Armed with nothing but my wits and a burning desire for justice, I set out on a quest to unmask the truth, to expose Olivia for the fraud she truly is. And as I delve deeper into the labyrinth of her deceit, I uncover secrets that threaten to unravel the very fabric of our society. But I cannot falter, cannot afford to let fear or doubt cloud my judgment. For if I do, Olivia will win, and I will be condemned to live out the rest of my days as nothing more than a footnote in her twisted tale of deception. No, I refuse to let that happen. I will fight, will claw my way back from the brink of oblivion and reclaim my rightful place in this world. And when I finally confront Olivia, when our paths inevitably cross once more, she will know the true meaning of fear, the fear of a sister betrayed, and the wrath of a woman scorned. With each passing day, the web of Olivia's deception unraveled before me, revealing a tangled mess of lies and half-truths. But amid the chaos, a pattern began to emerge, a pattern that hinted at a larger conspiracy, one that stretched far beyond the confines of our own tangled relationship. As I pored over the evidence, connecting the dots with a single-minded determination, I realized that Olivia was not acting alone. She was merely a pawn in a much larger game, a game orchestrated by shadowy figures lurking in the shadows, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. But who were they, and what did they want with me? These were the questions that haunted my every waking moment, driving me to the brink of madness as I raced against time to uncover the truth. And as I dug deeper, delving into the darkest recesses of our society, I stumbled upon a revelation that shook me to my core. The genetic scan, once hailed as a marvel of modern science, was nothing more than a facade, a tool used by those in power to control and manipulate the masses. And Olivia, with her uncanny ability to evade detection, was merely a pawn in their twisted game, a disposable asset to be used and discarded at their whim. But I refused to be a pawn any longer. Armed with the knowledge of their deception, I vow to expose the truth and bring those responsible to justice. For if there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's that the truth has a way of coming to light, no matter how deeply it may be buried. And as I stand on the precipice of revelation, I know that my journey is far from over. There are still secrets left to uncover, still battles left to fight. But I am not alone. I have allies now, allies who share my determination to see justice served. Together, we will unravel the deception that has ensnared us, and we will emerge victorious, no matter the cost. For in the end, the truth will prevail, and those who sought to deceive us will be brought to their knees, their power stripped away by the light of truth. Armed with newfound allies and a renewed sense of purpose, I set out on the next phase of my journey, the hunt for answers. Every clue, every lead, brought me one step closer to unraveling the tangled web of deceit that had ensnared me. But the path ahead was fraught with danger, as I soon discovered. The authorities, unaware of my innocence, pursued me relentlessly, their dogged determination fueled by a desire to maintain the status quo. And lurking in the shadows, unseen but ever present, were the true architects of this conspiracy, watching my every move with cold, calculating eyes. Yet, I refused to be cowed by their threats or intimidated by their power. With each obstacle I faced, I grew stronger, more determined to see this through to the end. For I knew that the stakes were higher than ever before, not just for me, but for all those who had been deceived by the false promise of security offered by the genetic scan. And so, with unwavering resolve, I pressed on, following the breadcrumbs of truth wherever they led. From the gleaming spires of the city to the dark underbelly of the slums, I searched for answers, driven by a fierce determination to expose the lies that had robbed me of my identity. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, I began to wonder if I would ever find the answers I sought. Was I chasing a phantom, a figment of my own imagination? Or was there truly a light at the end of this dark, twisting tunnel? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. I would not rest until justice was served, until the truth was laid bare for all to see. For I was not just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for the countless others who had been victimized by this insidious conspiracy. And together we would prevail. No matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, we would emerge victorious, our heads held high in the face of adversity. For the truth was on our side, and nothing could stand in our way. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the urgency of my mission became increasingly apparent. With each passing moment, Olivia grew bolder, her web of deception expanding like a cancer, threatening to consume everything in its path. But I refused to let her win. Armed with the knowledge that time was running out, I redoubled my efforts, pushing myself to the brink of exhaustion in pursuit of the truth. Every lead, every clue, brought me one step closer to unraveling the mystery that had consumed my life. Yet, despite my best efforts, Olivia remained one step ahead, always just out of reach. It was as if she were taunting me, daring me to catch her, to prove once and for all that I was the true sister, the rightful heir to my own identity. But I would not be deterred. With each setback, I grew more determined, more focused on my ultimate goal. For I knew that time was not on my side, that every moment wasted brought Olivia closer to achieving her nefarious goals. And so, with a renewed sense of purpose, I plunged headlong into the heart of the storm, confronting danger at every turn. From narrow escapes to daring rescues, my journey was fraught with peril, but I pressed on, driven by a burning desire for justice. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, I began to wonder if I would ever succeed, if I would ever unmask Olivia's true motives and expose her for the fraud she truly was. Was I fighting a losing battle, doomed to spend the rest of my days in the shadow of her deception? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. I would not give up, not now, not ever. For I was not just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for the countless others who had been deceived by Olivia's lies. And together we would prevail. No matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, we would emerge victorious, our spirits unbroken in the face of adversity. For we were not just sisters, but warriors, bound together by blood and determined to see justice served. As the walls closed in around me, and the weight of Olivia's deception threatened to crush me, I knew that I could no longer fight this battle alone. I needed allies, trusted companions who shared my vision of justice and were willing to stand by my side, no matter the cost. And so, with a heavy heart and a sense of trepidation, I reached out to those whom I believed could help me in my quest. Some were old friends, others mere acquaintances, but all shared a common bond, a burning desire to see truth triumph over deception. To my surprise, many answered the call, their faces grim but resolute as they pledged their allegiance to my cause. Together, we formed a ragtag band of rebels, united in our quest to expose Olivia's lies and bring her to justice. But the road ahead would not be easy. With the authorities hot on our trail and Olivia's spies lurking in every shadow, we had to tread carefully, lest we fall victim to the same fate that had befallen so many others before us. Yet, despite the dangers that lay ahead, I knew that I could not falter. Not now, not ever. For the stakes were higher than ever before, and failure was not an option. Lives hung in the balance, and it was up to us to ensure that justice prevailed. And so, with our resolve steeled and our hearts aflame, we set out into the world, determined to unravel the web of deceit that had ensnared us all. For we were not just allies, but warriors, bound together by a common purpose and a shared destiny. And together we would stop at nothing to see justice served, no matter the cost. For in the end, the truth would prevail, and Olivia's reign of deception would finally come to an end. With our allies gathered and our resolve hardened, we delved deeper into the heart of the conspiracy, venturing into the darkest corners of our society in search of answers. It was a journey fraught with danger, as we navigated the treacherous waters of the criminal underworld, where trust was a rare commodity and betrayal lurked around every corner. But we were undeterred. Armed with our determination and bolstered by the strength of our convictions, we pressed on, following the trail of breadcrumbs left behind by Olivia's deception. And with each step we took, the truth drew closer, tantalizingly within our grasp. Yet, as we delved deeper into the murky depths of the underworld, we soon realized that we were not the only ones hunting for answers. Dark forces were at work, unseen but ever present, their malevolent influence casting a shadow over our every move. It was a race against time, as we raced to uncover the truth before it was too late. But with each passing moment, the odds stacked higher against us, threatening to snuff out the flicker of hope that burned within our hearts. Yet, even in the face of insurmountable odds, we refused to give up. For we knew that the fate of our society hung in the balance, and that only by exposing the truth could we hope to set things right. As we ventured deeper into the underworld, the danger grew ever more palpable, lurking around every corner like a malevolent specter. Yet, despite the looming threat, we pressed on, driven by a fierce determination to see justice served. Our journey led us to darkened alleyways and seedy establishments, where the dregs of society congregated, their eyes watching us with suspicion and mistrust. But we were undeterred, our resolve unshakable as we sought out those who held the key to unraveling Olivia's web of deceit. And then, in the shadowy depths of a forgotten warehouse district, we had our first encounter with the enemy. They came at us like shadows in the night, their faces hidden beneath masks of indifference as they surrounded us, trapping us in a circle of cold, unyielding steel. But we were not afraid, for we had faced adversity before and emerged victorious. With weapons drawn and nerves of steel, we stood our ground, ready to face whatever came our way. And then, just as suddenly as they had appeared, they were gone, melting back into the darkness from whence they came. But their message was clear. We were not welcome here, and they would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. Yet we would not be deterred, for we knew that the truth was within our grasp, tantalizingly close, just waiting to be uncovered. And so, with renewed determination, we pressed on, our hearts aflame with the fire of justice. For we were not just warriors, but avengers, bound together by a common purpose and a shared destiny. And together we would stop at nothing to see justice served, no matter the cost. As we continued our relentless pursuit of the truth, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a picture more sinister than any of us could have imagined. Behind the facade of our society's supposed utopia lay a cesspool of corruption and greed, where the powerful preyed upon the weak with impunity. And at the heart of it all was Olivia, her web of deception woven with threads of manipulation and deceit. But as we delved deeper into the labyrinth of her lies, we uncovered a truth more shocking than anything we could have anticipated. Olivia was not acting alone. She was merely a pawn in a much larger game, a game orchestrated by those in power to maintain their stranglehold on society. The genetic scan, once hailed as a beacon of progress, was nothing more than a tool used to control and manipulate the masses, to weed out those deemed undesirable by those in power. But we refused to be pawns in their twisted game any longer. Armed with the knowledge of their deception, we rose up against our oppressors, our voices raised in defiance against the injustices that had plagued our society for far too long. And as the truth was laid bare for all to see, a wave of change swept across the land, transforming our world in ways we had never thought possible. The powerful were brought to their knees, their reign of terror brought to an end by the light of truth. But the battle was far from over. For even as we celebrated our victory, new challenges arose, threatening to undo all that we had accomplished. Yet, we were undeterred, our resolve unshakable as we faced the future with hope in our hearts and justice on our side. For we knew that as long as we stood together, united in our quest for truth and justice, there was nothing that could stand in our way. And together, we would build a better world, one where the light of truth shone brightly, banishing the shadows of deception forever. With the truth revealed and justice on the horizon, the time for confrontation had come. Olivia, the mastermind behind the deception that had torn our lives apart, awaited us like a spider in her web, her cold eyes betraying no hint of remorse. But we were not afraid. Armed with the knowledge of her crimes and the strength of our convictions, we marched forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As we approached Olivia's lair, a sense of anticipation hung in the air, mingled with the palpable tension of impending conflict. We knew that this would not be an easy battle, that Olivia would fight tooth and nail to protect her secrets. But we were prepared. With weapons drawn and hearts afire, we burst into her hideout, confronting her head-on with the truth of her crimes. At first, Olivia denied everything, her lies flowing like poison from her lips. But as we presented her with irrefutable evidence of her guilt, her facade crumbled, revealing the true face of a desperate woman driven to the brink of madness by her own greed and ambition. And in that moment of vulnerability, we saw the flicker of remorse in Olivia's eyes, a fleeting glimpse of the sister we had once known, buried beneath layers of deception and betrayal. But there was no turning back now. The time for mercy had passed, and justice demanded retribution for the lives destroyed by Olivia's deceit. With a heavy heart and a sense of finality, we delivered Olivia into the hands of the authorities, her fate now in their hands. And as we watched her being led away, a sense of closure washed over us, mingled with the bittersweet knowledge that justice had finally been served. For we were not just warriors, but champions of truth and justice, bound together by a common purpose and a shared destiny. And together, we had triumphed over darkness, banishing the shadows of deception forever from our lives. Just as we thought our victory was secure and justice prevailed, a sudden betrayal rocked our newfound sense of peace. It came from within our own ranks, a trusted ally revealed to be a double agent working for Olivia and her cohorts. The sting of betrayal cut deep, shattering the bonds of trust that had held us together. We had fought side by side, facing danger and adversity with unwavering resolve, only to be betrayed by someone we had once called friend. As the truth of the betrayal unfolded, we were left reeling, struggling to come to terms with the magnitude of the deception. How could we have been so blind, so naive to trust someone who had been working against us all along? But there was no time for self-pity or regret. With the enemy now aware of our plans, we were thrust into a desperate battle for survival, fighting tooth and nail to protect ourselves from the relentless onslaught of Olivia's forces. Yet, even in the midst of chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope remained, for we were not alone in our struggle. Despite the betrayal, our resolve remained unbroken. Our determination to see justice served stronger than ever before. And so, with renewed determination, we rallied together, united in our quest to overcome adversity and emerge victorious once more. For we knew that as long as we stood together, there was nothing that could defeat us. And together, we would rise from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and more determined than ever before. For in the end, it was not the strength of our weapons or the power of our allies that would determine our fate. It was the strength of our resolve, the indomitable spirit that burned within each and every one of us. With betrayal tearing through our ranks like a knife, we found ourselves in a desperate struggle for survival. Olivia's forces closed in around us, their relentless pursuit driving us to the brink of despair. But in the face of adversity, we refused to give up hope. Gathering what few allies remained loyal, we formulated a daring escape plan, a desperate bid for freedom in the face of overwhelming odds. Every detail was meticulously planned, every contingency accounted for as we prepared to make our daring escape. As the moment of truth arrived, tension hung heavy in the air, mingled with a sense of grim determination. With hearts pounding and adrenaline coursing through our veins, we executed our plan with precision, moving swiftly and silently through the shadows, evading detection at every turn. But Olivia's forces were relentless, their pursuit unyielding as they closed in on our position. With every passing moment, our chances of escape grew slimmer, our hopes fading like embers in the wind. Yet, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, we refused to surrender to despair. With our backs against the wall and our lives on the line, we fought with a ferocity born of desperation, our will to survive driving us forward against all odds. And then, just when all seemed lost, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. A narrow window of opportunity opened before us, a chance for freedom amidst the chaos of battle. With a final burst of strength and determination, we seized the moment, making our daring escape under cover of darkness. And as we disappeared into the night, leaving Olivia's forces in our dust, a sense of triumph washed over us, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human soul in the face of adversity. For we had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, our spirits unbroken and our resolve stronger than ever before. And though the road ahead would be fraught with peril, we knew that as long as we stood together, there was nothing that could stand in our way. Our escape from Olivia's clutches was a victory, but it came at a steep cost. We were battered and bruised, our ranks diminished by the betrayal that had nearly undone us. But in the face of such adversity, we found strength in our unity, our shared resolve to see justice served. With Olivia's forces temporarily thwarted, we seized the opportunity to regroup and rebuild. Every moment of respite was precious, allowing us to lick our wounds and plan our next move. We sought refuge in the most unexpected places, relying on the kindness of strangers and the solidarity of those who shared our cause. Rebuilding trust within our ranks was a slow and painful process. The sting of betrayal had left deep scars, and it took time for us to heal. But as we worked side by side, forging new bonds of friendship and camaraderie, a sense of hope began to bloom once more. Our first priority was to secure our position, fortifying our hideouts and establishing safe lines of communication. We reached out to other dissident groups, forming alliances and sharing information. It was through these networks that we began to piece together a clearer picture of the vast conspiracy that Olivia had been a part of. The more we learned, the more determined we became. Olivia's deceit was just the tip of the iceberg. The genetic scan, which had been used to control and manipulate the population, was a weapon in the hands of a shadowy cabal, a group of powerful individuals who sought to maintain their grip on society through fear and oppression. We realized that our fight was not just against Olivia, but against the very foundations of the corrupt system she represented. And so, we vowed to expose the truth, to bring the hidden architects of this conspiracy to justice. With renewed purpose, we began to lay the groundwork for our next move. Our goal was twofold: to gather irrefutable evidence of the cabal's crimes and to rally the populace to our cause. We knew that the fight ahead would be long and arduous, but we were undeterred. The truth was our weapon, and we would wield it with unwavering resolve. As we prepared for the battles to come, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we had come. From the shadows of deception, we had risen, our spirits unbroken and our determination unyielding. We were no longer mere victims of Olivia's lies. We were warriors of truth, champions of justice, and the harbingers of a new dawn. And so, with our hearts afire and our resolve steeled, we prepared to take the fight to our enemies. For we knew that the path to justice was fraught with peril, but it was a path we were willing to walk, no matter the cost. Together, we would stand against the darkness, and together we would emerge victorious. The day of reckoning had finally arrived. After months of planning and preparation, we were ready to take the fight directly to Olivia and the cabal that had orchestrated the vast web of deceit. Our allies were in position, our strategy clear. This would be the final showdown, the moment when justice would finally prevail. Under the cover of darkness, we made our way to the heart of the enemy's stronghold. It was a fortress of steel and concrete, heavily guarded and seemingly impenetrable. But we had a plan. A daring, audacious plan that relied on precision, courage, and an unwavering belief in our cause. As we approached the perimeter, tension hung thick in the air. Every step we took was fraught with danger, every shadow a potential threat. But we moved with the confidence of those who knew that their cause was just, our hearts beating as one as we prepared to face our greatest challenge yet. The initial breach went smoothly. Our diversion tactics drew the guards away from their posts, creating a narrow window of opportunity for us to slip inside. Once inside, we moved swiftly, our objective clear: to gather the evidence that would expose the cabal's crimes and to confront Olivia, the architect of our suffering. Navigating the labyrinthine corridors of the stronghold, we encountered pockets of resistance. Each skirmish was a test of our resolve, a battle of wills as much as strength. But we fought with the ferocity of those who knew that failure was not an option, our determination unyielding as we pressed forward. Finally, we reached the inner sanctum, the heart of the enemy's operations. There, amidst the hum of machinery and the flicker of computer screens, we found the evidence we had been searching for. Files, documents, and video recordings that laid bare the extent of the cabal's treachery. But our mission was not yet complete. In the center of the room, standing amidst the chaos of her shattered empire, was Olivia. Her face was a mask of defiance, her eyes cold and unyielding. She had been backed into a corner, but she was far from defeated. The confrontation that followed was intense, a battle of words and wills as we laid bare the truth of her crimes. Olivia fought back with venom, her words dripping with malice as she sought to sow doubt and division among us. But we stood firm, our unity unbroken as we confronted her with the irrefutable evidence of her guilt. In the end, it was not our strength or our weapons that defeated Olivia, but the truth itself. Faced with the overwhelming weight of her crimes, she had no choice but to surrender. The authorities, now fully aware of the extent of the cabal's treachery, moved swiftly to arrest her and dismantle the corrupt system she had been a part of. As Olivia was led away in chains, a sense of triumph washed over us. We had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, our spirits unbroken and our resolve stronger than ever before. The battle had been long and arduous, but we had prevailed. The truth had triumphed over deceit, justice over corruption. With Olivia and the cabal defeated, a new dawn broke over our society. The truth, once hidden in the shadows, now shone brightly for all to see. The genetic scan, once a tool of oppression, was dismantled, its remnants consigned to the dustbin of history. In the aftermath of our victory, we set about the task of rebuilding. It was a time of healing and renewal, as we worked to restore the trust that had been shattered by the deception and betrayal we had endured. Communities came together, united by a common purpose and a shared vision of a better future. The road ahead was not without its challenges. The scars of the past ran deep, and the process of rebuilding would take time. But we faced the future with hope in our hearts and a renewed sense of purpose. For we knew that as long as we stood together, there was nothing we could not overcome. And so, as the sun rose on a new day, we looked to the future with optimism and determination. We had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, our spirits unbroken and our resolve stronger than ever before. The truth had triumphed over deceit, justice over corruption, and together, we would build a better world, one where the light of truth shone brightly, banishing the shadows of deception forever. For we were not just survivors of Olivia's deceit, but champions of justice and truth. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all.